Welcome to this week's stretch class. Today we'll be doing some dynamic stretches. These are stretches that are really good to do before you work out since they are helping wake up and warm up your muscles, which is really important so that once you do start working out, you're not going in cold, which makes injuries more possible. You also want to go for dynamic stretches before you work out because, again, your muscles are cold. If you try to do static stretches as we know them, just kind of like sitting down, reaching for your toes, or kind of like bending down, you're trying to stretch out your muscle before they've really had time to warm up and loosen up. So today we're going to start standing and go for some breathing. You can start standing at the edge of your mat. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Another deep breath. We're going to do 5 more like this. Don't worry about going into your Pilates breath. I want you to just inhale, let your rib cage open up in all directions, fill your body up with air. And then as you exhale, all the air escapes. You start to just feel your body relax. Ease a bit of tension in your shoulders and your hips and around your jaw. Last 3 here. 2. Beautiful. And then after that last one, I want you to roll your shoulders back. Take an inhale and feel your spine lengthen up towards the ceiling. You're going to exhale, tuck your chin, start to roll down one bone at a time. Let your arms ankle down here. You're going to inhale as you soften your knees. And then exhale. Spine one bone at a time. Shoulders rolling back at the top. We're going to do 5 more like this, going nice and slow at your own pace. Exhale, chin tucks, rolling down. Exhale, soften your knees and start to come all the way back up. Last 4. 3. 2. 1. On this one, you're going to roll all the way down. Bring your hands down onto the mat, and you're going to walk out into your plank, finding a nice long line here, and then walking back, and coming back up. 5 more like this. Again, nice and slow, going at your own pace. Make sure that when you come out into your plank, you hold it for one nice breath, full inhale and exhale, walking back. 4. 'Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders in the plank. You've got your pelvis lightly tucked. Your abs are drawing in towards your spine, so we're not kind of sticking your butt out. That way we're keeping your low back supported. 3. 2. And on this next one, you're going to hold that plank. Beautiful here, drawing those little abs in. You're going to exhale, peking your butt up, moving into downward dog, and then articulating all the way back out into your plank. Send your sits bones back. You're going to tuck that pelvis, roll through your spine all the way back out into your plank. 4, 4. And 3. 2. And on this last one, holding that plank, you're going to slowly lower yourself down onto the mat. Let your legs reach nice and long. Hands are staying by your chest off to the side. Deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift up. Collarbones are nice and wide. Shoulders are sinking down away from your ears. Keep that pelvis slightly tucked so we're finding length in the front of your body and we're not crunching in that low back. Lower right back down. Inhale. Exhale, lift once more. And coming right back down. You're going to tuck your toes, press up into your plank, and move into a downward dog. So here, keep your arms nice and long. Your spine is long. You're trying to reach your heels down so you find a bit of length in the back of your legs, especially around your calves and hamstrings. Inhale and exhale to reach a little further. We're going to go for some pedaling here of your feet, softening your knees one at a time. Going at your own pace. If you want to go nice and slow, holding it for breath on each side, and then switching, feel free to do so. If today you want to make it a little faster, feel free to move through. We're going to do this for 10 more seconds. 5, 2, beautiful. Coming right back out into that plank, lowering down. Inhale, lifting your chest. Come right back down. We'll move back up into our plank and downward dog. This time you're going to reach that left leg nice and long. And you're going to move out into this mountain climber plank as your knee tucks in. Then back into your downward dog as that left leg goes long. 4, 5. 4. 3. 2. And on this next one, bring that left foot forward. Beautiful. You're keeping that right heel nice and long. You can have your hands down on the mat if that feels good. We're going to find a bit of stretch in that right hip flexor. So as you inhale, fill your body with air, and then exhale, let your hips sink a little lower down to the mat. You always want to think about exhaling as you're sinking deeper into a stretch, so that way we're not trying to stretch your muscle out while it's gripping. We're letting it relax and release. One more breath here. Beautiful. You're going to keep your right hand on the mat by the inside of your foot. You're going to reach that left hand up towards the ceiling, twisting your chest open to the left. If it feels better for you here to have your knee down, feel free to do so. One more breath. Coming right back. You're going to rest that right knee down, carefully coming up. We're going to go for a little deeper hip flexor and quad stretch here. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, lightly tuck that pelvis forward and lean forward. So we're finding length in that quad and hip flexor. You can also squeeze your right butt, helping you open up that right side even more. And if that feels good, you want to add a little extra. You can bend that right knee, reach back for that right foot if that feels good for you. And that's adding a bit of extra stretch there in that right quad. And if you want to add a twist, you can hold your right foot with your left hand, twist your chest to the left. Holding it here for just 2 more breaths. Bringing that heel a little further into your butt to add a little extra for that quad. Excellent. And then you can let go. Sit back onto your right heel, reaching that left leg long. Finding a bit of stretch here in that left hamstring. If you curl your toes in towards your face, you're adding a little extra stretch there. One more deep breath here. And then carefully coming back up. Hands on the mat. Your left foot goes back, finding that nice long line of your plank. And downward dog, holding it here. Reach that right leg long and back. And then move out into that mountain climber plank as your right knee tucks in. Downward dog as that right leg reaches long. 4, 5. 4. 3. 2. And on this next one, bring that right foot forward. Finding this runner's stretch here. Inhale. And then as you exhale, sinking a little deeper. Feels better for you to have your chest a little farther up, resting your forearms or hands on your right thigh. Feel free to do so. Nice deep breath here. And you're going to have your left hand on the inside of your right foot, right on the mat. Reach your right hand up towards the ceiling, twisting your chest to the right. Again, if it feels better for you to have your knee down here for this, feel free to do so. One more breath. And then carefully coming back down. You're going to have your left knee down on the mat. Carefully coming up. Good. And then from here, you're going to tuck that pelvis slightly forward. And lean. More lengthen that quad. Again, feel free to bend that left knee and reach for your left foot to add a little extra quad stretch in there. And if it feels good for you, adding that twist to the right. Bringing that left heel further in towards your butt to intensify the stretch of your quad. Squeezing that left butt to add a little extra hip flexor stretch. And then carefully coming back. Sitting back towards your heel, keeping that right leg long. Feels good to stay up here. Feel free to do so. Feels good to sit down on your heel. Also feel free to do that. You can curl your toes in towards your face to add a little extra length in that right hamstring. Good. And then from here, carefully coming back up. Hands on the mat. You're going to have your knees on the mat, so you're on all fours. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Feel your spine reaching nice and long away. Tailbone reaching long away from the crown of your head. We're going to move for a little cat-cow here, finding some movement in your spine. So inhale, tailbone flares. Spine starts to arch down towards the mat. Chest opens up towards the front of the room. And then exhale, pelvis tucks. Each vertebrae moves one at a time as your spine arches up towards the ceiling. Your gaze turns in towards your navel. And reverse. We're going to do this 3 more times to each side, going at your own pace. It's really important that our spine has fluid movement so that each bone in your spine moves together like a chain rather than in blocks. That's going to make sure that whatever movement you do flows properly instead of getting stuck in places, which is where injuries tend to happen. Final one to each direction. Beautiful, and then coming right back to neutral. From here, you're going to reach your left hand behind your head, twisting your chest open to the left. And then twisting that chest, trying to reach that left armpit almost underneath your left elbow underneath your right armpit. And then twisting back up. If you prefer to do this with your arm extended, feel free to do so. You can thread that left arm underneath your right armpit. For 3, 2, and on this last one, you're going to reach that left hand up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, thread it underneath your right armpit. Sit back into your heels. You can reach that right hand farther forward. So we're in this twisted child's pose, helping you get a bit of length in that left deltoid. You can shift your weight over into your left hip, helping you find a little extra length in your lats on the left side. And then come back up to center. Start that with the right side. So again, feel free to have your right hand behind your head or arm extended. You're gonna twist your chest over to the left, reaching that right elbow almost underneath that left armpit, and then twisting to the right, opening your chest off to the side. Nice and steady here, going at your own pace. Four, three, two. Reach that right hand up towards the ceiling. Reach it away from you, and then as you exhale, thread it underneath that left armpit, sitting back into your heels, reaching that left arm nice and long. You can shift your weight over onto your right hip, helping you find a little extra length in your right lats. And back to center. Hold a child's pose here. You can have your knees nice and wide. And then carefully coming up, we're going to lie down on our backs. You want to make sure you have your feet flat on the mat, about as wide as your sits bone, so you can fit your fists between them. Good. Toes are pointing straight forward. You're going to go for a few bridges here just to get your glutes warmed up before we stretch them. So inhale, and then as you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine, tucking your pelvis, pressing that low back down against the rock back into neutral. We're going to do just 3 more here like this, just to get a bit of movement in that. Last 2. Feel how your pubic bone curls in towards your face as you exhale. And on this last one, tucking your pelvis as much as you can. Then you press into your heels and lift up into your bridge, peeling your spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. Squeezing your and then melt all the way back down. Inhale to come back into neutral, and then exhale, pelvis tucks and you bridge. And here again, going nice and slow, we're trying to find that same articulation in your spine that we just did in that cat-cow. And then don't worry about going super high in your bridge. I want you to focus more on keeping your pelvis tucked. If that means that you don't go super high, that's perfectly fine, because it means you're using your glutes instead of putting tension on your low back. 2 more here. Last one. Beautiful. Coming all the way back down. Excellent. From here, you're going to cross your right ankle over that left knee, flexing your right foot so we're protecting your knee. Hands behind your left thigh. Take a deep inhale here. And then exhale as you bring that left thigh in, helping you find a bit of stretch and length on that right side on your hip and glute. Inhale, exhale, drawing a little further in. Feel free to have your right elbow pressing against that right knee, so you're pushing that knee away from you as you bring your left thigh in. That intensifies the stretch a little bit here. One more breath. And you can slowly release, but keep that right ankle crossed over your knee, opening your arms out to a T. You're going to let your knees shift over to the right and twist your gaze to the left, finding a bit of release in that low back. Coming right back to center, we're switching sides. Crossing your left ankle over your right knee, flexing that right foot, hands behind that right thigh. Inhale here, and as you exhale, that's when you draw your thigh bone in, finding length in that left hip and glute. Again, feel free to press that left elbow against your left knee, pressing that knee away from you as your thigh bone moves in. Two more breaths here. One more. Gently release. Keep your ankle crossed, arms out to a T. This time your knees shift over to the left, gaze turns to the right. And coming right back to center. You can have your knees bent or in a diamond shape or straight, whichever you prefer. We're just going to go for a little bit of thread and needle here. So I want you to start with your left palm facing up towards the ceiling, right palm facing down towards the floor. You're going to have that internal rotation of your right arm and the external rotation of your left arm. And we're just going to switch. Left palm faces down, right palm faces up, and switch. Feel your fingertips reaching long away from each other. So we're finding length here in this kind of like arm span. We're going to do 10 more seconds of this going at your own pace. 4, 5, 2, and after that last one, you're going to carefully come up. We're going to go for some mermaid stretches here. So you're going to have your left shin in front of you, left knee bent, right knee bent with your right shin parallel to the end of the mat. From here, you're going to reach that left arm up and over to the right, creating this kind of bend in that left side, finding length all on this left side of your waist. Feel free to pull that left arm a little further using your right hand. You want to try and keep your right hip as far down as possible, making sure that you're not just crunching in that right waist, but really trying to find length going up and over. Kind of like you're a pole vaulter in track. And coming back up. We're going to twist your chest over to the left, so press your right hand against that left knee and twist. Coming right back to center. Left forearm down. Reach your right hand up and over. Finding a bit of length on that right side. And coming up. We're going to switch sides. So now your right shin is forward. You've got your left shin parallel to the end of the mat. Good. Reaching your right hand up and over to the left. Again, feel free to pull that right arm with your left hand if that feels good for you. Finding length still on both sides of your waist, but really focusing on the length in your right side. And back to center. Twisting your chest over to the right. Left hand presses against your right knee. Back to center. Right forearm down, left hand reaches up and over. And coming up. I want you to carefully come up to standing. We're going to go for a little sumo stretch here. So you're going to have your legs a little wider than your hips in a slight external rotation. So heels point in, your toes are pointing. And from here you're going to exhale, sinking down into the stretch. Feel free to lean your chest forward and have your elbows kind of resting on your thighs. And you can just sway here. If it feels good for you to have your hands on the mat as you sway. Don't forget to breathe here and exhale if you're going to sink a little deeper into the stretch. Good. And then from here, coming all the way back up, open your legs a little wider. You're going to bend your right knee, finding some length in that left inner thigh. You can keep that leg externally rotated or bring your foot back to parallel, whichever feels best for you. Maybe you try both, see how that changes the stretch. You can also have your hands down on the mat. Carefully coming back up and switching sides. So again here, you want to make sure that you're not forcing your body to go further into stretch than it feels comfortable doing so. Really listen to your body here. If you try to overstretch, you can end up doing some serious damage and it's not going to feel very comfortable, especially in a stretch when it has to do with your adductors. Feel free to bring your hands down onto the mat. And you can choose to have your foot in parallel or externally rotated. And then carefully coming all the way back up. So for here, you're going to interlace your hands in front of your chest. And you're going to reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Opening your chest up towards the ceiling. But making sure that we're not bending in that low back. Keep your pelvis slightly tucked so we're keeping your glutes engaged. We're keeping that low back nice and long. We're really finding an opening stretch in the front of your chest, your shoulders, and a slight extension in your upper spine. And then come back to center. Hands behind your back. Opening your chest. Reaching those arms long away from you. If it feels good for you, you can bend your knees, lean your chest forward, and bring your arms up. One more breath here. carefully coming all the way back up. Good. From here, one last thing before we move on to our last stretches. You're going to bend your knees, wrap your hands behind your thighs. You can hold on to your forearms here. And I want you to arch your spine up towards the ceiling like an angry cat. Finding a bit of stretch there in your rhomboids and mid-back. Good. And from here, you can carefully come back down on the mat. So bring your feet together, knees are bent so your legs are in a diamond shape. If you can bring your heels a little closer in towards your pubic bone, feel free to do so. You're going to inhale, and then as you exhale, press your knees down gently as far as feels good for you. You can lean your chest forward, helping you find a bit of extra stretch in your inner thighs here. Good, and after that last breath, we're going to lie down on our backs. Reach your legs long, finding length in your body here. You're going to bend your right knee in towards your chest. And after that last breath, switching legs. One more breath here. And you can reach your left leg nice and long, keeping both legs long. Or if it feels more comfortable for you, you can have your legs in a diamond shape. Arms resting however feel comfortable for you. You can take a deep inhale. And exhale. Close your eyes here. You're trying to let go of all the tension in your body as we do these deep breaths. Feel how with each exhale, you start to release some tension in your shoulders, in your jaw, around your brows. Last breath here. And after that last breath, you can stay here for a little longer if that feels good for you. If not, you can carefully come all the way back up, and we are done. So this is our dynamic stretch class. Again, you want to think when you're going for dynamic stretches that you want to stretch out the part that you're going to target in your workout. So if you're doing arms and shoulders, it's good to do stretches for your upper body. Leg day, again, legs. You can pick and choose from these exercises as well to see which ones you prefer, which ones fit into your workout of that day. And thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you around.